Behold the storm of your doubts! Your worries ignite the cosmos!
What is all this?
A symphony of chaos!
Everyone is watching you, especially that pigeon. He knows everything.
Reality is lagging. Try refreshing existence.
Right now, in this exact moment, while you're watching this, your brain is lying to you.
You are totally in control. Also, the floor is lava. Act natural.
Well, mostly not like this, but very similar, not occasionally, constantly. And the worst part, it's doing it with absolute confidence.
You're going viral. No one knows why, especially you.
You trust it, right?
Relax. You're 100% productive. Even your stress is working overtime.
That's already your first mistake. Because what you call reality is not reality. It's a simulation your brain stitched together from incomplete data, wild guesses, and a suspicious amount of overconfidence. Think of it like this. Your eyes are not cameras. Your ears are not microphones. Your brain is not a recording device. It's more like a conspiracy theorist with a PhD. It receives fragments of information, connects dots that may or may not exist, and then presents you a story like, yep, this is definitely what's happening, and you believe it.
Good news, there is no bug. Bad news, you are the bug.
Of course you do. You don't have access to anything else. Let's start simple. You think you're seeing the world right now. The room, your screen, your hands. No, you're not. Light bounces off objects, hits your eyes, turns into electrical signals, and then your brain goes, okay, I have no idea what this actually is, but let me improvise.
Interns, press all the buttons.
But sir, that's the coffee machine.
Exactly! Now repaint the sky!
So it builds a version, a best guess, a rough draft of reality. And here's the fun part. It fills in missing pieces without asking for permission. Blind spots filled, gaps patched, uncertainty covered with confidence. You are not seeing reality. You are seeing a convincing hallucination that happens to be useful. And yes, that sounds dramatic, but it gets worse. Let's talk about your memories. You probably think your past is stored somewhere inside your brain like a hard drive. It's not. Every time you remember something, you're not replaying it. You're reconstructing it from fragments, from emotion, from whatever version of yourself exists right now, which means your memories are not records. They're stories you keep rewriting. You are editing your own past in real time, adding details that never existed, removing things that did, changing tone, intention, meaning. Give it enough time and your life becomes a collection of highly convincing fiction. I lived on Mars. Something like this. And here's the scary part. You trust those memories enough to argue about them. You'll sit there and say, no, that's not what happened, when in reality, neither of you has any idea what actually happened. You're just defending your version of the story, confidently, passionately wrong. I lived on Mars. Now let's go deeper. Your thoughts. You think you're the one thinking them, right? Pause for a second. What's your next thought going to be? Go ahead, predict it. You can't, because you don't create thoughts. You receive them. They just appear out of nowhere. 1 second you're calm, the next your brain goes, "Hey, remember that embarrassing thing from 7 years ago?" Or, "What if everything collapses tomorrow?" Or even better,
What if you just drop everything and move to a cabin in the woods?
where did that come from? You didn't order that thought, you didn't design it. It just showed up like this uninvited guest and started rearranging the furniture. And yet, you identify with it. You say, "That's me thinking." Is it? Or are you watching thoughts happen? Because if thoughts just appear, then who exactly is observing them? Now we're getting uncomfortable, because now you're not just thinking, you're watching yourself think. And suddenly, things start to feel a little off, like a camera filming another camera. That's filming another camera in an infinite loop. Welcome to the weird part of consciousness. But don't relax yet. It gets better. You think you're making decisions. You think you choose what to do. You think you're in control. That's adorable. Experiments have shown that your brain often makes decisions before you become aware of them. Before you decide, your brain already has. You just show up afterward like a spokesperson saying, "Yes, this was my decision." You're not the CEO. You're the PR department, explaining actions that were already taken. Which means a lot of what you call free will might just be a story your brain tells after the fact. Does that make you uncomfortable? Good. That means your brain is trying to regain control. It doesn't like being questioned. It prefers the illusion of certainty. But we're not done. Let's talk about your personality. You think you're one person, a stable identity, a consistent you. Really? Then why do you act completely different depending on who you're with? Why are you one version of yourself with friends, another with family, another alone, and a completely different one in your head at 3 a.m.? You're not one voice. You're a committee, a collection of competing processes trying to agree on what to do next. One part of you wants discipline, another wants comfort. One wants risk, another wants safety. And somehow, out of all that noise, comes a temporary sense of I, a fragile agreement, a momentary illusion of unity. You are not a fixed character. You are a negotiation. And sometimes, the negotiation gets messy. Now let's zoom out. Time. You think time is stable, objective, consistent? Then explain this. Why does 1 hour sometimes feel like 5 minutes? And 5 minutes sometimes feel like an eternity? Why does your childhood feel like a blur, but last week feels painfully detailed? Because time is not what you think it is. It's not just out there, it's also constructed. Your brain stretches it, compresses it, distorts it, just like everything else. Same with fear, same with importance, same with urgency. Your brain is constantly tagging things. This matters. This is dangerous. This is critical. Even when it's not. Especially when it's not. Your brain is dramatic. If it had a YouTube channel, it would be called an breaking news, everything is a potential threat. And you would subscribe because it sounds convincing. But here's where things take a strange turn. Despite all of this, the lies, the distortions, the guesses, the illusions, you're still here. You're still functioning, still thinking, still feeling, still making meaning out of chaos, which raises a weird possibility. What if your brain isn't broken? What if it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do? What if the goal was never truth? What if the goal was survival? Think about it. If your brain showed you reality exactly as it is, in full detail, with all its complexity, you might not be able to handle it. Too much information, too many variables, too many unknowns. You'd freeze. So instead, your brain simplifies, filters, edits, distorts, not to deceive you, but to protect you. It gives you a version of reality you can work with, a user-friendly interface, not the code behind it. And maybe that's why it feels so real, because it works, not because it's accurate.
You are at peace. Also, nothing exists. But don't worry, it's very busy not existing.
So yes, your brain is lying to you right now, but maybe it's not the enemy. Maybe it's more like a storyteller.
Everyone thinks you look amazing, except every mirror disagrees.
Sorry, not this kind of story. One that exaggerates, fills in gaps, and occasionally panics for no reason, but still somehow keeps you alive. And now comes the question that ruins everything. If you're not seeing reality directly, if your thoughts just appear, if your memories change, if your identity is fluid, then what is actually real? And the honest answer? No one knows. Not completely. Not scientists, not philosophers, not you, not me. We are all navigating something far more complex than we understand. We're inside a system that we can observe, but never fully step outside of. And yet, that's not a bad thing. Because if reality is not fixed, not simple, not fully known, then it's also open, flexible, layered, full of possibilities we haven't even begun to explore. You're not trapped in something small. You're inside something massive, strange, unfinished. And maybe the most fascinating part is this. Even though your brain filters everything, you can still notice it. You can step back, even for a moment, and realize, wait, something is off. That moment, that awareness, that's where things get interesting. Because now, you're not just inside the system, you're questioning it. And once you start questioning it, there's no going back. So yeah, your brain might be lying to you, but now you're starting to catch it. And trust me, this is just the beginning. Because in the next videos, we're going to go even deeper into things that are stranger, more unsettling, and way more fascinating than you expect. So stay with me, because if you thought this was weird, you haven't seen anything yet.